may be seated. We are gathered here today to witness new creation. Today, we are witnesses of a special moment. A moment in time that we enter into the joy and the beauty and the reverence that we will share together this evening. The vows that you are about to profess are a covenant and are a dedication of your love for one another. These vows, though, are so much more than just words from your lips. They are a promise, a solemn and unshakable vow from your hearts. They are a binding covenant to one another and a covenant to God. They are not to be compromised or neglected. And they are to be professed to one another every day throughout the rest of your lives. Would you repeat after me? I choose you to be the love of my life.
I choose you to be the love of my life.
I will love you and honor you forever.
I will love you and honor you forever.
I promise to you today.
I promise to you today.
To be your loving and faithful husband.
To be your loving and faithful husband.
In plenty and in want.
In plenty and in want.
In joy and in sorrow.
In joy and in sorrow.
Forever and ever.
Forever and ever.
This is my vow to you this day.
This is my vow to you this day.
Would you repeat after me? I choose you to be the love of my life.
I choose you to be the love of my life.
I will love you and honor you forever.
I will love you and honor you forever.
I promise to you today.
I promise to you today.
To be your loving and faithful wife.
To be your loving and faithful wife.
In plenty and in want.
In plenty and in want.
In joy and sorrow.
In joy and in sorrow.
Forever and ever.
Forever and ever.
This is my vow to you this day.
This is my vow to you this day.
The rings that you are about to exchange are a special gift. It's a gift that you'll give to one another. You'll place these rings on far more than one another's fingers. You'll place them on each other's hearts as well. As you place this ring on one another's finger, you will place them on the vein that runs all the way to the heart. And this ring is a symbol that will remind you of the love that you have for one another, the commitment that you've made to one another, and the joy of knowing that your heart belongs to one another. As you place this ring on your bride's finger, you are placing it on her heart as a pledge to guard her heart for as long as you live. If you accept this commitment, will you place this ring on her finger? You've made your intentions very clear today. What a beautiful choice that you've made. It is truly good. Do you desire to take this new creation as your dearly beloved?
I do.
Do you desire to fully give this creation free will and the ability to reject you? And do you promise to care for her, to love her, and to even lay down your life for her?
I do.
Today, you have experienced the true beauty of being chosen. Chosen by one who desires to make you his own, to care for you, and even lay down his life for you. As you place this ring on his finger, you are placing it on his heart as a pledge to him for as long as you live. It's a pledge to love him all of your days, to make him the love of your life, to walk with him faithfully for all of your days. accept this commitment? Will you place this ring on his finger? Do you promise to love him, to keep yourself pure, to honor him with your life, and to walk with him all the days of your life? How beautiful what we are witnessing here today. A relationship that has been chosen by both. A new beginning. A new journey.
The fall, oh God, the fall of man. The fruit is found in every eye and every hand. Nothing there is nothing yet in truest form. We walk like ghosts upon the earth, the ground groans. How long will you wait? How long till you save us all? Save us all.
Your face to me, turn your face to me, turn your face to me, turn your face to me. The light, the morning light was gone. Nothing's left, just fragile breath and failing lungs. The night, the guiding light has come. Uniting love with his bride, more precious than the dawn.
How long must we wait? Turn your face to me. Turn your face to me. Turn your face to me. Turn your face to
Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know how to explain what you just witnessed. You came here to see a wedding, and instead you saw rejection. How could she? How could she walk away? questions I want to ask you tonight is not just how could she, but how could we? What we want to share with you tonight is a love story that all of us are in. Every one of us finds ourselves in the presence of a God who fell to the earth, who came and created in beauty. A God who came and breathed life. And as His Spirit comes down and hovers over the water, a God who then breathes life into this creation that He's made with His very own hands. And a God who cares for not only the garden and the animals, but He intimately cares for the man and the woman that He creates. And make no mistake, this is a love story. This is a story of God choosing life, coming down and creating in a way that says, I want to have a relationship with you. And what we've created for you tonight to see is a portrait, is a picture, a metaphor for the life that God has given all of us. As God came to us and to every one of us, even individually, and proposed to you and said, hey, will you marry me? Will you be my bride? Will you be the love of my life? And see, we serve a Jesus who came to this earth and who not only came to the earth to die, but came to show us how to live. And as He came, He proposed to us. It was an invitation to life. So much of the language in the Bible is symbolic of a wedding. It was symbolic of a God who proposed to us and who offered us life and who met us at the altar. And yet somehow, even in the midst of our own rejection, a God who still says, I love you even at your worst. And so tonight as we sit here and take in what in the world just happened. What in the world was this all about? I thought this was a retreat, not a wedding. This was a picture tonight of what happens when we reject God. You see, we're not here to talk simply about rules tonight, because I can stand here probably for 30 minutes and talk to you about how to keep God's rules better. How maybe you should just be more obedient and how you should just keep the rules more. I think you probably already know that, right? You probably don't need me to stand here and tell you more rules and more things that you need to keep, although the Bible is certainly full of things that guide us. But the Bible is a love story. It comes to us not as a rule book, not as just a list of do's and don'ts. The Bible comes to us as God's love story that invites us in and says, do you want to join this story? This is a love story that you're a part of. And it's an invitation for you to be loved and to experience love like nothing else can offer in life. And there in the garden, in the very beginning, when God begins to create, maybe you picked up on the metaphor, maybe you didn't. But as God came down the aisle, the image of God came down the aisle and breathed life into creation as a light of the world, to give light to the world and to begin to intimately fashion and form everything just as He had designed it and planned it. And then this beautiful image of the bride coming down the aisle. This moment where we might think where God speaks, we know He breathed life into the nostrils of man, and then He creates woman, and He invites them into life with Him. And everything seems so perfect. We have a perfect world. We have a humanity where everything is just right. We have this garden where everything is just right. And there's only one rule. You think about rules, you think about all the things that your parents expect from you, all the things that your school expects, your athletic team, all the things that are expected out of you to follow. You think of all those rules. Well, in this perfect world, there was one rule only. It was a one-rule world. Everything is unspoiled. Everything is just perfect. And God says, there's one thing I want you to obey, and that one thing is, I don't want you to eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. That's the only thing I want you to do. And so you think about all the freedom that Adam and Eve had. They had the whole
creation to explore, to enjoy. They have God in their midst. And the tragedy of what we all just witnessed was that we watched a rejection take place. As Satan comes in and says, this really isn't what you want. This isn't really all there is. There's got to be more to this story. So why don't you come away with me? Why don't you follow me to something better? Because I have something better to offer you. Did you notice? Satan offered something that looked more beautiful on the surface. Something that offered an allure, a promise of something that could maybe offer more life. And the tragedy of the fall wasn't just that Eve and then Adam broke a rule, because we're not here to talk about just rule breaking tonight. The tragedy was that Eve and then Adam gave their heart away to something other than God. They didn't just, oh man, we broke a rule, we messed up. They gave their heart away. They, you might say, committed adultery on God. They left God at the altar and said, we choose something other than you. And if you started to pick up on what was going on in this drama, it begins to get very uncomfortable and even painful, doesn't it? Because you start to realize that that's not just a story that happened long ago. That's not just Eve and Adam. And that's a portrait of our story. When Jesus comes to us and says, will you marry me? Will you give your life to me? Will you allow me to be the Lord of your life? And many of you in this room have probably said, yes, I do. And you joined him in the waters of baptism. You said, absolutely. I want to give my life to you. And think about what you did. How many in this room have given your life to Jesus? When you stood in the waters of baptism, I'm going to go ahead and ask some of our students to come up and bring you guys to the chair up. You're going to sit up here with me for a minute. I want you to think about what you did at your baptism. How many would say you remember that moment vividly? Like you can actually go back and see and almost smell and hear those sounds all over again. You remember it so vividly because it was a moment that was truly life-changing for you. It was a moment that you knew was life-saving, life-giving, that you were rescued for eternity. Come with me to that water. That day when you stood in the water was the one that baptized you. Maybe it was a family member, it was your father. Maybe it was your youth minister. Maybe it was someone in your church. That special moment where you said, I do to Jesus. You see, you weren't just keeping a rule, or you weren't just saying, well, the Bible says to be baptized, so I guess I'll just do it. Now, what you were doing was, you were saying, I do to Jesus. You were saying, absolutely, I love you. And I want to be in a relationship with you because you can save me, and you can clean me up, and you can give me life. Think about what happens at baptism. At baptism, when we enter into that water, we are becoming, according to Paul's words in 2 Corinthians 5:17, says, if anyone is in Christ, he or she is a new creation. A what? A new creation. That's what he says. Because in that moment, when you stand in the waters, you are getting to be a part of creation. In the beginning, God's Spirit comes down, it says in Genesis 1, it comes down and hovers over the water. You've got God hovering in spirit over the water. He's about to create new life. He's about to create all the things that we enjoy in the world. And in that moment, when you step into the waters of baptism, guess what gift we receive? We step into the water, we say, I do to Jesus, and we're told that in that moment that we receive the Holy Spirit. That the Spirit literally comes down again, it's just like creation all over again, and hovers over the water. I'm going to ask one of you to tell, if you don't mind, for just a minute. And they don't know the question they're going to ask. This is very real. So this is not like scripted or rehearsed. One of you tell me what it was like the day that you stepped into those waters and were baptized. Maybe relive that moment. What did it feel like? What did it somebody else. Tell me, relive that moment. What was it like for you?
Okay, mine was different. I did it without the church. My only people were my grandparents, my parents, my siblings, and Jade, my best friend, and her dad came to open up the door to church for us. And I kind of made a decision, kind of on the spot that day. It didn't cross my mind, but I just called my grandfather, and he's an elder at his church, and he came down to baptize me. My dad took my confession, and it was just very kind of secretive. Just I didn't want a big deal made about it, but the people that I loved the most were there. And I just remember my grandfather baptized me, and after that, you just have this feeling of relief for one. The next few weeks, I was just so happy, and just amazing feeling. But it was different from Macy's. It was just the people who are the closest to me was there, and I appreciate that.
So, I know all of you got to hear and see, and some of you stand right near those waters in your own baptism. Would you say that after you were baptized, it was real easy after that? Like everything just went well, everything was just perfect for the next few days, or did you find a different experience? What was it like in the weeks, months after you were baptized?
I remember a specific story. I think it was the day after I was baptized. I wanted to do all of these great things, and so I was in sixth grade. And I remember being on the playground and wanting to pick up trash. And I was just so excited. I was like, I'm going to do this. It's going to be great for God. And I was so excited about it. And then one of my friends, she came up to me and she was like, oh, do you think just because you're baptized now, you have to go around doing all these good things? And I was like, well, it made me think, like, just because of my salvation, things are not going to be easier. In fact, they get a lot harder, and we just have a peace about it, though, now. So.
Yeah. Okay, somebody else, what was it like? What were some of the difficult things after you gave your life to Jesus that maybe came along?
One of the difficulties with mine was as soon as I got baptized, I was on a high. I was on that spiritual, mountain. But soon after, I was in middle school, and it was kind of that stage where you're just transitioning or whatever. And it wasn't like a specific moment, but I just felt the presence of God, obviously. But it was really difficult because Satan was on the attack even more. And I made that commitment to God, but also Satan just sees that as more of an opportunity. In my life, especially, I just saw it, even from then to now. But I can't think of a specific moment, but it was very powerful after I gave my life to Jesus. But it's not easy. It's very difficult, and each day there's new things. Satan's trying his best to distract us as best he can, but overall it was very tough, even still is now.
You see, following Jesus is not easy because we have an enemy that does place things before us.
When you're tempted, when you go through those things in life that you want to do, let's face it, I mean, those temptations, the sinful things out there, those things are enticing for a reason because they're fun, right? I mean, those things that present themselves to you, you think, that is something to offer me. Maybe I ought to try that. Maybe that actually could make me happier. Maybe that could give me something that I don't have. Maybe I'll just try this. And when we sin, we give in to sin, we're not again just breaking a rule, we're compromising and we're saying, I don't really trust that God is all I need. And we're giving our heart away. And we're breaking up with God in that moment, saying, God, I just don't need you anymore. There's a story in the Bible, and a lot of what we did tonight is inspired by the story of Hosea. How many of you ever heard of Hosea in the Bible, Old Testament? Hosea was this prophet, and God said,
I want you to do something really unusual. It's just bizarre. If you've never read the Bible, you're reading along, you think, this can't be the Bible. This just can't be there. I must be in some other book. God said to Hosea, he said, I want you to go and take a wife, and she is going to be an adulterous wife. She's going to be a wife that cheats on you, a wife that is not faithful to you. Listen to what God said in Hosea 1:2. To go take yourself an adulterous wife and children of unfaithful